Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and I'm joined by my good friend and my co-host, Devin. And today we're here to give our thoughts and reflections on Miss Marvel, episode 3, titled Destined. And before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at FilmOptix, or email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, how's your week been?
It's been a solid week. It's been very busy for TV. We got the Kenobi finale today, Ms. Marvel episode 3, Umbrella Academy comes out today.
Yeah.
All at once to much dismay. I would have loved if New Rockstars covered it too. I don't know if they did the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, for Umbrella Academy. That was pretty disheartening to see when they had to tweet that out, just because, I mean, as great as the binging model is, I really feel like I feel like it's starting to take its toll a little bit, and hopefully Netflix will budge, but I don't know if they ever will. I still stand by that. I think season 4 of Stranger Things should have been weekly. But hey, they already, and the fact that they kind of already came out and said and put their foot down and said that Stranger Things season 5, the final season, will not be weekly. It just doesn't make any sense. You would think you would want that to go for as long as it can before, you finally say goodbye to that series. But hey, it is what it is. But, we're here. We're talking about some Miss Marvel here today. So I'm very excited about that. Nothing too crazy on my side. Just been chipping away at some Plague Tale Innocence. I think the new game drops tomorrow.
I think the release date drops tomorrow.
Okay. So I still got some time, but I'm a good 14 chapters in.
I'm almost done with Fallen Order.
Almost. How many times have you played that game?
This is my first time.
Oh, this is your first time?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you had played it before. Oh, that's right. I think
I started it before, but then never finished it.
That's right. 'Cause there's no fast travel in that game, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that really bothered me. Like, once you finish a level, you have to go all the way back to your ship. And it's like, that's just weird.
Oh, you know what? I think Todd Howard and Starfield had the right idea with, getting rid of those seamless planets type situation, where it's like, imagine you had to do that for Fallen Order, but imagine you having to do that for Starfield. And it's cool the first 2 times. And I imagine it's fun the first few levels of Fallen Order, but I imagine it gets really old and really boring super quickly.
Yeah. I don't want to go through the level that I just beat.
Do you run into the same
every time? Yeah, they respawn.
Oh, they do respawn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it would be different if you just, if there's a shortcut, to the beginning of the level.
There are shortcuts that you can unlock, but it's you have to go out and find them.
You have to unlock the shortcut?
Where they are. Yeah.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. I mean, I'll still play it, but hopefully these sequels will change that. But anyway, listen to me rambling about some Fallen Order on a movie and TV podcast. Devin, are you ready to go back into Miss Marvel? You're ready to get your feet wet again for episode 3?
Yeah, we've got some answers here to what's going on in this universe in New Jersey.
Yeah, so we're going to take another trip back to Jersey Shore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this introduction to Miss Marvel episode 3.
Maybe they're right. I spend too much time in Fantasyland.
That is not you.
It's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who save the world. That's a fantasy too.
And we are back with our Miss Marvel episode 3 review. Again, that is titled Destined. And again, the creator of the show, Bisha K continues to wow us with each episode going deeper and deeper into Kamala's past and to who Kamala is as a person. Of course, this series stars Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan herself, Alysia Reiner, and Matt Lintz. And yeah, the plot's been the same, but it seems like the plot's been thickening outside of, Kamala's learning about her polymorphic powers, but she's also learning about some family history in this episode. So we're going to switch it up here a little bit. I'm actually going to give my initial reactions first before Devin. And for everyone out there listening, we usually get into initial reactions, then we hit on spoilers. If there's a few Easter eggs along the way, we like to mention those. Then we get into our final thoughts and our ratings here on the show. So for my initial reactions for Miss Marvel episode 3, I feel like it is doing such a great job of pacing the series. And for the longest time, I felt as if maybe 6 episodes wasn't enough for a Disney Plus series. It seems too short sometimes, but I feel like with the right material and with the right story and the right pacing that it can be done. And so far, Miss Marvel has proven that the 6-episode arc story can be done. It can be completed in a way to where it's engaging and it doesn't feel like it's leaving anything out. I really enjoy the family, the family ties that you see through Kamala and her brother's wedding in this episode. And we finally get some answers to that mysterious woman that Kamala just kind of decided to hop into a car with, stranger danger, all that stuff. But, she was kind of in a tough pickle there. But things start hitting the fan here in episode 3. So I'm very, very excited to see where the rest of the story goes. As of right now, I think it's still the least watched, Marvel show on Disney Plus. But again, I feel like that's just Marvel's fault for releasing Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel on the same day. It's amazing for someone who doesn't review content like we do, or YouTubers, or even writers. I can understand, hey, oh my gosh, as of right now, as of this recording, we have Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness that's out today, as well as Miss Marvel and the season finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And on top of that, what Devin mentioned earlier, it's also all episodes of Umbrella Academy season 3 is out, and that's another additional 10 episodes. So if you are like a big TV watcher like myself, it can feel a little bit overbearing. But I didn't really see a lot of people tweeting about Miss Marvel this week, probably because of the Obi-Wan finale. And I really feel like it's the number one thing Marvel needs to fix, or not Marvel, just Disney in general. If you're going to have Marvel Wednesdays, that's fine. But I feel like Star Wars content needs to be on Fridays, because it's a lot for, you want people to cover, these shows and whatnot. And sometimes, and even if you're not covering them, it's more of, a lot of people don't have the time during the day to watch both. Maybe they only have time to watch one. And, you have a lot of critics out there who are like, okay, well, am I going to cover Obi-Wan or am I going to cover Miss Marvel? So it's kind of all up in the air, but I digress. So I do apologize. I was getting a little bit off topic there, but when it comes to Miss Marvel episode 3, I'm really, really enjoying it so far. I love everything about the series. I love everything about Iman Vellani being Kamala Khan. And, we get to see her use her powers a little bit more. She's starting to hone those in. So I'm going to shut up now and pass it over to Devin so he can give his initial reactions for Miss Marvel episode 3.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what you were saying about Disney maybe being part of the issue for why this show isn't performing as well. I can see that argument, but I think the show in general has just started off behind the 8 ball just because of the closed-minded straight white males that were never going to give it a chance in the first place. Like it already started off on a troubled path just because of that. And I don't think it was ever going to have the big numbers that the other shows had, which is definitely unfair. But as far as this episode goes, it was definitely another good entry into the series. A lot of exposition for this episode, a lot of kind of talking through some things about what's happening in the story and who these characters are. It's kind of running into the issue of being a middle episode where you don't really have the payoff from the last 3 episodes to know how well this episode kind of performs. So I guess we'll see at the end of the series, looking back at this episode, how well it did for us. But yeah, it's cool to see who these mysterious people are and how they got here. I'm not sure if that ties in directly into Kamala, Ms. Marvel's backstory or what she will be considered moving forward, because I think it might be a separate thing that they are setting up. But I'm liking where we're going. We're definitely, like you said, thickening this plot a bit. It's always good to see. I keep laughing at Bruno every episode because it just keeps getting sadder and sadder. Every episode, he's getting in deeper and deeper, and there's no way out yet. He's in like the friend upside down. Like it's not even the friend zone. He's in the friend like quantum zone. Like there's just nowhere to go.
He's in the friends. Yeah, the quantum zone. I feel like that's
the friend upside down. The friend. What was it called in Get Out? The friend.
It was called the sunken place.
Yeah, the friend's sunken place. He is trapped in there. Okay, he's doing dance numbers at her brother's wedding, like on his own volition. He's learning this dance number just for her and her family. He's so close to their family. He just can't break through yet. There's a glimmer of hope because Kamran, as predicted, does not have the best of intentions, although he does have a bit of a change of course this episode. So we don't know exactly how much at fault he is, but he did bring her right to the bad guys, which is obviously not great. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely not a good look for Kamran. I mean, his intentions are obviously more good than others, but I've been told, Devin, that people aren't good in this world. It's the things that they do it's the good decisions that they make.
Yes, Mama Khan. Or was it Daddy Khan? That was Dada Khan.
Oh my gosh.
Sheik.
Yeah,
Sheik Abdullah.
Sheik. Yeah, Abdullah. Yeah, Sheik Abdullah. Yeah. I really just love, there's so many amazing, like it really feels like this is like Spider-Man. Like this feels like
I was gonna actually bring that up because I like how, I guess we can get into semi-spoilers here, but I like how this show so far is showing her like the clunky like fighting style and like how not like polished she is because she doesn't know how to fight. She's just a regular teenager, and it shows. It was similar in Hawkeye with Kate Bishop, where she had some training, but you could tell she was still like learning how to fight, and I like how they show that in this series.
Yeah, I definitely agree there for sure. It definitely has those Hawkeye vibes when it comes to the hero learning of what to do and how to act as a hero, because, and it is pretty similar. Like, I mean, that's actually a really good point you bring up because, with Kamala Khan, she holds Captain Marvel in this high regard, and so does Kate Bishop when it comes to Hawkeye. So it's, obviously they're like the mini me versions of the established heroes, but there's a lot of parallels there, and I really, really love it. So yeah, as Devin said, I feel like we are getting into spoiler territory. So that is your first spoiler warning for Ms. Marvel episode 3 again. That is your second spoiler warning for Ms. Marvel episode 3. So if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's on Disney Plus. It's towards the end of the day. Go watch it, pop it on. It's a good solid 45 minutes. You'll have a blast. So I believe we were kind of talking about these similarities between Ms. Marvel and Spider-Man. Devin, I'll let you continue on that one.
Yeah, just being a young teenager in high school with newfound powers, just trying to figure it all out and get through life and friends and just being young and coming of age.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's crazy because, obviously, as with every hero or multiple heroes, we don't get a lot of heroes nowadays where it's like they're trying to live this double life. And obviously, we've seen that with Spider-Man. We've kind of seen it with a few other heroes, but for the most part, for every hero that we've kind of come across, their identity is kind of just well known. Their identity and their personal life, everything is just one and the same. But obviously with Spider-Man and especially with Kamala, they're both high schoolers. Kamala is still trying to figure things out. And Nakia, she finds out after the kerfuffle at Amir's wedding that, Kamala is Nightlight.
Nightlight.
I love it how I love it how Kamala is like, oh, like that's a stupid name kind of thing. Like she's kind of trying to.
They all agree it is.
Yeah, it's great because if there's any performance in this entire show that just makes me smile.
I wonder when she'll get the name. Will it be in this series or will they wait until the Marvels movie?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure.
Will we get a Carol Danvers appearance at some point in this series?
Yeah, because we actually haven't seen Carol Danvers. I mean, they even address it in the show since Endgame. We haven't seen her at all. So she's kind of just been off-world. We kind of got a glimpse of the Skrulls where towards the end of WandaVision where Tiona Paris's character was very, I guess she just went with the Skrulls in general. And we know that Nick Fury's been, off-world for a while.
A long while.
A long while. So I'm trying to figure out, especially with this damage control, like everything's been happening.
There's some theories going on around them that one or both of them are Skrulls and or Kree members.
I think so. I definitely think they're building up towards Secret Wars. I don't know if they're doing Young Avengers just yet. I feel like that will come after.
They have the roster.
They do. I mean, we're getting the Echo series. We still have. I mean, we'll see what She-Hulk's going to be up with that as well. They announced so many shows, and it's like I'm having a hard time figuring out what else they announced. But we are now at the point where Moon Knight's out, Miss Marvel's here. These are like the first, or I guess you could say the second. Like, obviously, it's like the second wave of like Marvel shows, but I actually kind of view it as the first in a sense of these are new characters. These aren't based off of established characters that we know, like Bucky or Falcon or Wanda or Loki, but it's, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk. These are brand new characters that you're bringing into the MCU. The other three.
And Scarlet Scarab.
Yeah, and Scarlet Scarab, of course. And Hawkeye is kind of like a semi,
Kate Bishop,
Yeah, Kate Bishop for sure. So I really feel like this is like the first like new renaissance of new heroes that we're finally getting. And I honestly just can't wait to see the Marvels.
And I agree. It's definitely building towards Secret Wars. And for the people who can't envision that, like there's so many people that are like, oh, the MCU is aimless now after Endgame. Like you were just not understanding the future if that's what you think. Could they make it any more obvious after Multiverse of Madness? What's going on here?
That is true. And actually, I got to check that out today on my TV. I can't wait to check that on the OLED. I'm like, I've been meaning to rewatch it. I wanted to watch it in theaters again, but I'm like, no, I want to watch it again on Disney Plus. But Disney's sneaky over here because I logged on to Disney Plus today, and the first thing that popped up, it wasn't Miss Marvel, it was not Obi-Wan, it was Multiverse of Madness. And it said to stream now with like the enhanced IMAX edition on Disney Plus. You know darn well we're not going to get that on the Blu-ray, like at all, which is very unfortunate. I mean, it's a smart thing, but physical media buyers out there, beware. If you haven't noticed already, Disney doesn't really play nice when it comes to IMAX releases on 4K, because I was livid when I found out that Infinity War and when Endgame came out, they were both shot in IMAX, and we didn't get those formats on the 4K Blu-ray player. I was like, what is the point of giving us this high rated disc? You know, it's the 4K disc. It's the best on the market. It can hold all this memory, like all this storage, and we don't get the IMAX version. Same thing with Warner Brothers. I'm watching you. Anyway, rant over. But yes, throughout this episode, I guess we can talk about the Jinn here for a bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the big reveal of what these bad guys are actually known as. She listed off a bunch of different names that they've gone by, but I think the one she landed on most was Jinn, which is like a real mythological type of being, I guess, in real life lore, and also in the Marvel history. They're kind of just like genies, more or less. They have magical powers, and they kind of are attached to a certain object, more than likely, oftentimes from a different dimension or universe, which is what she mentioned in this episode. And she also mentioned that the only way they can get back to their own world is by using Kamala's new bracelet, which is interesting. And then we see more. We actually see her. Is it her grandma? It's her great grandma.
That was her grandmother called her towards the end.
Yeah, she called, but then at the beginning we saw them looking for the bracelet, and it was, what was that character's name?
Her grandmother's name?
Yeah, Aisha.
Aisha, that's right. So that's her great grandmother's name.
Yeah, and then she was at the beginning. She finds the bracelet, and then later on in the episode, when she's fighting the Jinns, we see some kind of flashback to a train, which we don't know the answer to yet, but it seems like there might have been some kind of betrayal between Aisha and these Jinns, and that's why they're coming back after this bracelet. I'm sure we'll get more information on that, but it's definitely interesting. I don't think this means that she herself is a Jinn or anything. I think it might just be kind of a random just occurrence where they wanted to bring in an interesting bad guy for the first season, and they decided on bringing in some Jinns, and it's definitely interesting. Yeah. I am curious to see if they're going to consider her an inhuman or just a mutant even, but we'll see what they decide on that. That would be crazy.
Cue that music. So I wanted to bring up, I think I sent this to you earlier. So do you remember the flag and like the opening of like the Shang-Chi trailer where it has like the 10 rings and it has like the different symbols within each ring, and kind of like the two
went back to Iron Man.
Yeah. So apparently, so I didn't even notice this before, but during the very beginning shot with Aisha in the past, during the right before the partition, so if you're looking at like the top shot, I think I put it in our group chat, where it's kind of like an overhead shot, and it has that same symbol. And I don't know if they're in a tomb or some type of labyrinth of where they were looking for the bracelets, and apparently the other one is missing. So I don't know what's going on there. Like,
yeah, it's interesting.
So I'm very interested to see what's going on. I do apologize, listeners. You know, we're not a video podcast, or else I would show it to you. But definitely just keep a lookout. If you go watch like new rock stars videos, or even heavy spoilers, I'm like 100% sure that they will probably show it or make note of it in general. But yeah, man, it's such a crazy episode. I mean, overall, we'll kind of just get into final thoughts and ratings here. I'll pass it back over to Devin so we can give his final thoughts, ratings, and then we'll just get the heck on out of here.
Final thoughts. Definitely another interesting episode. Definitely, like you said, got some more plot for us to ponder on. And like I mentioned before, it's going to be kind of hard to grade this one just because we don't know where the series is ending up. It's kind of the issue of being a middle episode. It's kind of hard to gauge where it's at, but I don't know, I give it a solid 80, 82. I don't know, around there.
Yeah. And I've actually been thinking about that. When it comes to TV shows, I think we should, and you shoot me down if you want. When it comes to us covering a show that's week to week, I think it would be more fair to wait until the end, when it comes to season finale, to give our overall grade of the series. Simply I've seen it a lot on Twitter and we've kind of talked about it here on the show, like people will like watch 2 episodes and then there's like, oh, well, this entire like show is trash or whatever. And it's like, well, there's like 4 to 5 more episodes left. I think it's something worth looking into that we kind of reserve judgment until the end, because much like with Obi-Wan Kenobi, not seeing a lot of backlash anymore after this past episode. So, I mean, that's just me. I feel like when it comes to movies and TV shows, you have to grade them differently. But we can try it out for the next go around. So, but for now, since you already gave your score for this one, I will for this specific episode give mine. I'm just gonna go with another 90. Just for the sake of us already bringing this up. I'm really enjoying it so far. Like you said, we have 3 more episodes to go. All that can quickly change. Everything here can quickly change as to what's happening. And, we could feel differently next week. But yeah, just a little food for thought. I think I wanted to plant in your brain there for future movie, series reviews. So ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our Miss Marvel episode 3 review titled Destined here today. So if you like what you heard on today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform of choice. And always make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover, whoever it may be. Make sure to share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. So we're going to get the heck on out of here. We hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.